The Saudi-sponsored LIV Golf Tournament has permanently altered the golfing landscape. Players who decided to switch to LIV and take advantage of the better, more lucrative chances have gotten away with their choice without suffering serious consequences from the PGA, and the Tour CEO in particular, who, by the way, have been very vocal in their rejection of LIV players, even going so far as to label them rebels. LIV players are now facing even greater repercussions in the form of mega fines and sanctions that are somewhere around the six-figure mark too. First up, how bad is it looking for the LIV players? Members who participated in the very first grand Saudi-funded LIV Golf Invitational Series event were infinitely barred from the 3 tournaments and fined an insane $177,000 each by the DP World Tour on recently leading up to the weekend. Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, and even the likes of Ian Poulter all participated in the event held just outside of London earlier this month, even though they had not been given permission to do so by the tour initially, which, by the way, was formerly known as the European Tour. Minutes after the first tournament finally began, the US PGA Tour issued a ban to its players, while the DP World Tour took longer to take a stance on the matter. Many fans and officials of the sport have speculated that they would take a calmer approach than the PGA. However, claiming a violation of the rules, the Tour has now imposed sanctions, including bans from the upcoming Scottish Open, the BOMBSHELL Championship, and even the Barracuda Championship, all of whom are standing by Monahan's stance and co-sanctioning players alongside the PGA Tour. These sanctions also include massive six-figure fines, which sound like a lot, sure, but LIV's lucrative financial packages for players are definitely going to be cushioning this fall in a big way. The DP World Tour also warned that participation in any further LIV Golf events, the next of which begins in Portland, Oregon the following week, could result in even more sanctions for players beyond this. From a glance, we're unsure how many players are even going to comply, and if you ask us, this could even shape up to turn into some really messy court proceedings as well, but you'll just have to stay tuned as we continue to cover how this story develops. Now, some clarifying statements to dispel rumors and speculation. According to Jamie Weir of Sky Sports, the players themselves, and not LIV Golf as was previously reported, will be responsible for paying the excessive penalty, which will double for each conflicting competition the golfers participate in from this point onwards. Keith Pelley, chief executive of the DP World Tour, publicly stated that every action somebody does in life has some kind of consequence, and it is absolutely no different in professional sport, especially if a player chooses to disobey the rules of that sport. He claimed that several of the members have experienced that there. He went on further to state that many members he directly spoke to recently expressed a pretty strong opinion that those who took this path disrespected not only them and the legacy of the tour, but also the ecosystem of a league built on the merit of professional golf as a sport. According to him, this has been the cornerstone of the sport for the past 50 long years and will continue to serve as the basis upon which the next 50 years will also be built. He claims that the so-called rebels playing for LIV are doing nothing more than undermining the tour and disrespecting the bulk of players that chose to continue playing for their current tour. He said that this is actually the major reason why they are taking the action that they have stated so publicly. Since its inception, the LIV Series, which is funded by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, has rocked the golf industry in such public fashion that it truly will never be the same again. Human rights organizations have also joined in on the conversation and have harshly criticized the tournament itself, claiming that the circuit is a poor effort to improve the kingdom's reputation through some kind of common ground, which in this case is sport. The LIV Golf circuit, which is very much in its early stages, promises $25 million in prize money for each of its individual 54-hole competitions and has been successfully recruiting top-tier athletes to join with it and granted a greater sense of legitimacy. Charles Schwartzel of South Africa won the opening competition at the Centurion Club in St. Albans and received a whole $4.75 million as his prize money. And the list goes on, and the PGA compromises. Even recently, 6-time major winner Phil Mickelson and 4-time major winner Brooks Koepka joined the likes of Dustin Johnson as well-known athletes in the sport of golf who have also decided to switch to the LIV Tour. This is no matter to overlook, because by names as huge as these also deciding to leave, the PGA has to follow through on their commitment and ban them too, which we're sure can't at all be good for publicity. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan also recently announced a comprehensive reform of the US-based tour in response to the growing threat posed by LIV Golf, which is growing at an exponential rate considering the talent that they're snatching up. 3 no-cut limited field international events, as well as 8-hole tournaments with significantly increased payouts, are among some reforms we've seen, which, let's face it, they had no choice but to implement. The return to a calendar year season will begin as soon as in 2024. British Open organizers, the R&A, publicly announced recently that players who had signed up to the LIV Series could play in St. Andrews in July, which is currently still in line with the policy at the previous week's US Open. Now, in other news, Monahan adds fuel to the fire. Recently, the PGA Tour's Commissioner Jay Monahan defended his choice to exclude players from competing in the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series, which has been the subject of much controversy. He went on to say that dissident players shouldn't expect a free ride off of devoted competitors who are loyal to the PGA as an organization. Of course, this is a pretty weak take by Monahan, who's obviously in hot water, considering the incredibly lucrative packages the players are getting from LIV, which they never did from the PGA. Monahan said the bans were required to safeguard the tour's interests, which take precedence above all else. He said this in his first public remarks following the announcement of punishments against 17 current or past PGA Tour players for their participation in LIV Golf. Just the ban alone has projected a negative image of the PGA, as many commentators of the sport are in agreement that the PGA should have clearly handled this better and protected the interests of players. Next, Rory McIlroy's playing with fire. Rory McIlroy believes that the PGA Tour did the right thing by taking an extreme step and suspending his peers, including Ryder Cup teammate Ian Poulter, who disobeyed orders not to participate in the $24 million Centurion Club opening round of the Saudi Rebel tournament. Poulter retaliated, claiming he will pursue legal action after he received the email informing him that his 18-year-long membership had abruptly and sympathetically come to a stop, as the battle lines were being formed more clearly than at any other point in his professional career. The 17 professionals who had teed off here, including Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson, were suspended indefinitely, according to an email from PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. He was trying to send a very obvious message. McIlroy wholeheartedly supported the action, calling the move his peers made vindictive. The Northern Irishman stated that Jay's done the right thing because these individuals have disobeyed the rules of golf in a major way and done things outside of the tournament regulations, and as a result, there will be consequences. He smugly said that he thought the remaining membership of players in the PGA as a whole really appreciated it. Lastly, personalities we all can't help but listen to have something to say. We're all well aware at this point of the fact that certain personalities like Charles Barkley don't hesitate to express their opinions. It's just one of the numerous factors contributing to his status as one of the most well-liked sports personalities in the entire industry after, of course, being a Hall of Fame basketball player. The 11-time All-Star and current TNT analyst discussed the LIV Golf and PGA Tour controversy during an interview on the Pat McAfee show recently. He offered support and backed players who accepted the money to play in the Greg Norman-hosted series, which is underwritten by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund officially. When asked what he wants to see at the US Open this week, Barkley comically stated that he wants all the LIV players at the top of the leaderboard, with the PGA Tour shaking in their boots. That's a wrap for this video. Do you feel like these sanctions are excessive, or did LIV players have this coming? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.